So hello, Angelina.
Hi.
Nice. It's been nice to meet with you and come here to your institution, your center.
Hello, Angelina. We know you for 1 hour.
Yes.
But can you introduce us?
Okay. My name is Angela Koltes, and I am German originally, and I am managing the center here, responsible for the education department here, and I've been living in Turkey for 7 years. Yes.
Perfect. So, Angela, can you give us a short information about your center, SODES, and for example, when was this institution founded, and how long have you been here, in SODES?
Well, we only started a year ago, actually. We started last April, and we were funded by the government, SODES program. And we have, last year we had over 100 students attending, and this year 170 or so enrolling into courses.
Okay, can you give us some details, more details about this institution?
What do we do here?
Yes.
We have courses for the hearing, teaching sign language.
Teaching sign.
And for the deaf, we have different courses like Turkish, sign language, art, computer, and different courses like that. And yes. And most of our teachers are deaf, actually. So we also provide employment for the deaf. And we have a lot of volunteer teachers as well. So most of us working here are volunteers.
So volunteer teachers come here and firstly they learn sign language.
Yes.
So how long does it take for learning the basic sign language at least?
Well, we have a beginner's course, which is 125 hours. After that, you will be able to converse, but it depends on how often you are communicating with the deaf. If you are always with the deaf, you will learn faster, of course. So if you're just going to the course, you won't learn that much. So that's why we always encourage our students to become friends with the deaf, go out, go for coffee, do things together, so you can learn a little bit about their culture, their language, and you'll learn faster that way.
Also, can we say they are being more social?
Of course, you're helping them to socialize more. But they're very good at socializing. They enjoy it very much. But it's best for you because you will learn about the deaf culture and the way they think and their lifestyle and so on. It's advantageous to those interested.
I want to talk about the differences between the deaf people. Who are deaf from birth, or who became deaf
later. Yes. From the educational aspect?
Yes.
Well, if we're talking about like speaking, for example, if they are deaf from birth, they most likely will not learn how to speak. But people that are become deaf later, it's easier for them to learn how to speak, and it's easier to communicate generally. But there's not that. It's a big subject, so it's hard for me to explain in a few sentences. Yes, but I would say the deaf that are born deaf, they learn the Turkish. They can learn Turkish faster. And they can learn other sign languages faster. Because, especially sign language, because it becomes natural to them. So they don't have the struggle between the hearing and the deaf world. They just have the deaf world. And so they excel in the qualities they have. But those that are partially deaf or become deaf later, they're always in between. So they face that problem, but they want to be hearing, but they're not hearing, they're deaf. So, and maybe the deaf don't accept them enough, or the hearing don't accept them, so they're in between.
So we can say that the deaf from the birth are learning sign language faster because it is their native language.
Yes, their native language.
But the deaf, after, for some time during their lifetime, becoming deaf later,
it's more difficult.
they say yes.
Also, they have sort of a bit of the trauma of becoming deaf later, so they don't accept it, and psychologically, yes, they go through a lot of trauma.
And so, for example, their literacy.
Sorry, break. Saturday we will continue with Murat's story.
Yes, I was thinking about him when you were talking.
Yes, we will also make an interview with him, and he's a good sample.
Yes, I know because I took him to the hospital when he became deaf, and I was translating for him, and I took him to my friend, who's a doctor, and we did the test, and the doctor said, "You're deaf, and there's nothing you can do about it." And I kept telling him, "You're deaf, there's nothing you can do about it." And it was very difficult for me to translate this to him, of course. And I'm so sorry, but he says, "We'll never hear again." He goes, No, I will hear, I'm sorry, you can't, It was very hard for him to accept, even though his brothers and parents are all deaf.
Yes.
So he's very fortunate, actually, because he speaks fluent sign language. From birth, he speaks sign language. And he understands the deaf because his parents and family and stuff. He's a fortunate one. But there's the ones that they don't know anything about the deaf. They don't know sign language, they don't know how to integrate in the deaf society. So they face big problems, of course. Like, they hide away in their houses, they don't want to communicate with people outside. Many times we get phone calls from the siblings or the parents of these families, their child became deaf all of a sudden, they don't know what to do. They say, "They're hiding in the room, I can't communicate with her. She doesn't want to meet anybody. Can you pull her out of her shell?" It's difficult. We try, but for them to, when they come here, they change. But for them to go out of their house, that's a difficult part of that. So, I don't know if that answers your question.
It was really good. So can we talk about their, their level of literacy? Do they know how to read and write? To people who are deaf from birth, and also the people deaf later?
Well, it's a question of education.
Yes, the people who came here, do you experience some, some problems, some bad examples that some people who don't know?
Yes, deaf people all over the world face a literacy problem, because they do not hear. So their way of understanding is different. It's all through visual. So if the education system does not support the visual method, they will not learn properly. And that's a big problem here. Schools, they do not have a proper educational system for the deaf. So they teach through speaking, and most of the teachers don't sign. And the children do not learn properly. And there's no way of controlling how much they know, because most people don't understand sign language or the deaf. They call them dumb, but they're not dumb. They just haven't been taught properly. And so, yes, many people come here. Most of our students are over 16, and they finish school, but some of them cannot write right, left, on top, underneath, elbow. They don't know these words. Maybe some of them know eye and mouth, but that's it. I ask them, like, there's a sign on the door, it says girmez, for example. They don't know what girmek is, Oh, yeah, they can't write. They said, and they finished 12th grade. And I said, "What did you learn in school?" And they said, "Oh, our teacher said, to pass the test." So, yes, it's a big problem. And some of the students come here, they don't know sign language, they don't know how to read or write. And you ask them what they've been doing for 20 years, 30 years. They don't do anything, they stay at home. And
you are here, you are also educating them how to read and write as well in Turkish?
Yes, that's what we're doing, and we're teaching them sign language. Many of them do not know proper sign language either. And we're helping them integrate with the other students, because many of them don't have any deaf friends.
So, can we talk about the problems that you have as a volunteer?
Like she said, I'm only talking about problems today.
Yes.
Okay, I will. Thinking about it, of course, there are some problems, because I've been a volunteer for a long time, and many people volunteer maybe for a month or a year, but I did 7 years volunteering in Turkey. Not such big problems, but I would say many people ask me why I'm volunteering, what's in it for me, and people many times think that there is another motive behind volunteering, simply volunteering. You must be in it for whatever reason. Maybe you're trying to convert the deaf, maybe you are a spy, maybe this. I've been called many things, and I just tell people I'm just sincerely trying to help people, and sometimes people, they don't realize what you're giving to the work, and I guess sometimes that can frustrate you a bit. They always are suspicious. Turkish people can be a little suspicious sometimes. They're suspicious of Turkish people and suspicious of foreigners.
We have talked a lot about the problems that we have, that you have faced, or maybe the deaf people have faced. So let's talk about some positive things, positive experiences that you have faced as a volunteer or working with the deaf.
Well, for one thing, I love working with the deaf because the deaf are really special people. They really have their own, I would say, their own nationality. Like, okay, maybe here they're Turkish, or there in Greece they're Greek, and there in Germany they're German. But at the same time, they're a little minority in the country, I would say. And they're kind of a closed minority. And within the deaf people, if you get to really understand their culture and the way they think, what makes them happy, and their jokes, their stories, all these things, they have their own, and it goes with the language. So once you understand the language, you understand their culture, and it's really beautiful. I really enjoy it, and many of the deaf people, I would say, are very, I'm trying to think of the English word, but soft, you know? Really, they don't have much negative influence from outside. I guess we hear a lot of negative influence, but they don't hear it, and they're a lot more sincere. They can be more sincere, and more emotional, and more understanding. Like, for example, if you are going through something, maybe I'm sad about something, I think I'm fine and smiling, but they will look at me and say, something's wrong today, Angela. You know, like, what's wrong? They will understand you very quickly. It's really a beautiful thing.
Because they focus on, you know, the visual life.
Yes, exactly. In the eyes, they understand a lot.
And I think they feel a lot more than a normal person.
Exactly.
So, before you have been a volunteer, it's a personal question, but did you do some exercises, for example, trying to put yourself in their shoes? For example, did you wear some, let's say, earplugs, and maybe you're watching TV on mute? Or
I'd like to say I did, but I didn't. Although, one thing that helped me understand the deaf is I've lived in Turkey now for 7 years, but when I first came, I didn't speak Turkish. And I had a lot of difficulties integrating into Turkey, right? I mean, I loved Turkey and the people, but it was difficult for me to start communicating. I lived in other countries where I didn't understand the language, and you're never fully pulled in until you understand the language. So for a deaf person, if they can't really speak, they have the same difficulty. So I can kind of understand.
Yes, more or less the same.
Yeah. But I would say about what you asked me, is that when I speak sign language and I'm just talking with the deaf, I don't hear the sounds around me. And sometimes I go out to the street, all this noise, and I'm thinking, where's all this, you know, where's the silence? I really enjoy it after a while, because other parts of the brain is working. I see a lot more, I'm thinking, seeing together, there's no noise, my ears are blocked. In fact, some people shout at me and I don't even hear it. I'm so focused on, and I can bang into things and I don't notice. I'm just, you know, focused on the sign language, and it's really different. You become deaf or something. Yeah. Anyway, I love speaking sign language.
I met Murat in a football match. I think it was 3 months ago. And I said, "Hi, I'm Sercan." the other brother said me cannot hear, is deaf. I thought, how will he play? How will he hear the sounds that his friends call? So he was in the other team, and only he beat our team, my team. He was single. He made all the goals. He beat us. And I said, "You're better than me. Maybe I cannot hear. Maybe he hears."
Yes, I mean,
because it is said that, as far as I know, when a person has got a disability afterwards, other senses got more strengthened. Yes, stronger. For example, your smelling or your touching or your eyesight become more strong. How can I say strong?
Yes, strong. It's true.
More sharp.
For example, in Mexico, they hired a big group of deaf people to watch the security cameras in Mexico. They just put them behind these cameras to watch
in the police department.
The police department. And they could see if someone was suspicious or something was happening. Because they look at someone, they see it right away. They understand the movements of their hands, the eyes, the face, and they caught many criminals that way.
Really?
And so they have very strong visual. Yeah, they're very strong. Like, for example, art, they're incredible. Most deaf people will be very good at art or sports. Those two things. Computers, they love the computer.
I don't want to be today's Pollyanna, but we have to see this as an advantage.
Yes.
We have to.
Yeah. I mean, many deaf people are deaf and they're proud that they're deaf.
Because during the match, I only remember I was saying, "Give a pass, throw me ball," but he is better than us.
Yeah.
That's an advantage.
Yeah, they can have a lot of skills.
Yes.
It's the same thing that people came to our school and asked we had salsa classes, and they asked, "How are the deaf all learning salsa?" And I said, "Just watch them dance, and you'll understand. They're very good dancers." I said, "Oh, but they don't hear the music." Well, they feel more than we do. Like, if you put the music off, we were blindly.
Are you talking about the vibrations?
Yes. If you turn the music off for us, and we would be like, "Oh, what's this?" Turn the music, and they
with amplifiers, maybe.
No, as long as it's a good enough speaker, they can feel it. Especially if they take off their shoes and they feel it or touch the walls. Many of them will be by the wall, so they can feel it, and they dance amazingly.
Perfect.
Yeah, they feel the music. If you watch a deaf person dance, they have a lot more emotion in their dance. Many times in the year.
There's a video, we can edit to our interview.
Yeah, I don't think I have a video, but only pictures.
I will add. So, I want to talk about the dialect differences. It's very important.
Well, let's just say, a few years ago, sign language was forbidden to be taught in schools and government institutes.
In Turkey.
In Turkey. Since 2008 it was, and just recently they started using it again. So before, there was no real Turkish sign language, no one really knew what Turkish sign language is. So in Istanbul, Adana, Mersin, all these cities, they all spoke sort of their own sort of sign language. And yeah, but now they connect it to Turkish sign language. There is a Turkish sign language. But still, in Istanbul, Adana, all these cities, they sort of talk their own sign language.
Although it's standardized in Turkish sign language.
There is a Turkish sign
There are
language now.
some differences.
Big differences. Not big, but there are. Like, I went to Ankara some months ago, and I was talking to a deaf person, and I said, "Oh, do I speak sign language? I mean, what is he speaking?" He was using a lot of different words that I didn't know.
For example?
I have to remember.
I was asking. I don't know. Example.
I mean, there was big examples. For example, here Saturday Cumartesi, and theirs was, I can't remember, like this or something really different with the hands. Like, if I see it, I would never understand what that is. But the deaf, when they travel around, they understand. They pick it up. But for us, if we just learn sign language here, when we go to Istanbul, Ankara, we'll have a bit of difficulty in the beginning.
Maybe you can tell the Kurdish boys story.
Oh yeah, as far as I remember, Murat as a volunteer, not different Murat, the other Murat, said that there is a difference while saying the word mother. Yeah, for example, a Kurdish boy was saying like this because there's hizma. But actually, in Turkish Sign Language, this is mother because of the, milking the baby. There's a, connection between the word and the movement. But Murat didn't understand the boy was talking about his mother. Oh, okay, so there is a different word, different dialect. So, from the web, that we learned that some improvements about the government in Turkey did some attempts about some improvements in universities, hospitals in Istanbul, but not in Adana, unfortunately. Those improvements were something like giving some obligatory courses, obligatory sign language courses in universities, in some universities in Istanbul, the students who are studying nursery. So, what do you think about this? For example, what can be done more? Yes, what can be done more? For example,
well, there is a new law in Turkey where each government hospital has to have an interpreter translator. How long this will take to have an interpreter in every hospital, it'll probably take some time. But I think, of course, it's really good, and definitely they need it, more than one even, because the deaf face a lot of problems going to hospitals, and it's not just about they have problems in the bank and other places, but when it's to do with your health, it's always a big problem. Like, if they get the wrong treatment, the wrong diagnosis, and something that happens, it's always a problem. So I would say the hospital is most important. And we face problems here too with some of our deaf students. They go to, for example, I have a deaf friend and a couple that are both deaf, their child's deaf, and the mother was pregnant, and I helped to translate at a hospital here. And they cannot talk to the doctor for 6 months, 5 or 6 months of the pregnancy, and there was a problem in the womb. And when I went there to talk with the doctor, then we discovered, well, there's a problem, and they didn't even know if their child was, a boy or girl after 5.5 months. Anyway, we discovered the problem, but it was too late, and they had to abort the baby. And at least I got to explain what's happening, because she didn't understand why the baby's, why she's losing the baby. So the doctors could just abort the baby, she'd wake up without the baby. They can't explain why they have to take the baby out. It's so important, I mean,
So you helped them signing
But there are many problems like this I can talk about for a long time. But that's why it's really important.
So from now on, I think the government has aware that there is a problem, and it's a must that they have to have a translator for the deaf people.
I mean, right now it's a little bit on their own initiative to learn sign language in the hospitals. For example, Acıbadem, we taught them for 5.5 months about sign language. So they have around 10 people that speak sign language very well.
So you trained them?
We trained them with our teachers, and they learned. In fact, they hired some deaf people to work there now in Acıbadem because they wanted to be able to keep practicing their sign language, and they're more aware of the deaf problems, the deaf culture, and So that was really great. I'm really happy about that, but I hope all the hospitals can do the same thing, because it's a big need.
And there are people who are attending your sign language courses here.
Caring people.
Yes. So why do people learn sign language?
The people who can hear.
Yes. Why do they want to learn this? Well, many of them are just interested, like you and me. They saw, maybe they met a deaf person before and they thought, I want to learn that language. Or some of them maybe have deaf siblings, or deaf mother and father. Some of them, they need it in their jobs for different reasons, many different kind of reasons. But most of them, they're just very interested.
Can you specify their age or their gender?
There are many different ages, but mainly I would say from maybe 16 to 35. Quite broad. Gender, there doesn't. I mean, there's girls and boys. There's no more.
So, what can people do to learn sign language?
If people are interested.
Yes, if they are interested.
Your advices.
Well, for one, they can take a course, and here we offer a course, a 120-hour course. We call it beginner's course, and it generally lasts for 3 months, and there's a small fee that we ask from students. And besides that, I definitely encourage people to befriend the deaf, to go out with them, to talk with them, to play football with them, to, socialize with them. And I would say that's the best way of learning the language, like for any language, of course.
Thank you.
So I wait for you here.
Yes.
And we're happy for anybody who wants to learn. Our door is open.
Thank you so much for today, for this interview, for your welcome.
I hope this helps your assignment, and I hope from your class more people will be interested to learn about the deaf and sign language, and they will come.
I would love to learn.
Okay.
I want to learn. And I'll wait for the September's course.
Okay, good.
I think this video will be a helpful video to create
awareness.
That's what we are trying to do.
Yes, that's what we must do.
So again,
Okay.
thank you.
Bize birkaç kelime öğretebilir misin? İşaret.
Okay, so you can say it to the camera after.
Yes.
Okay, so say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. What else? Thank you.
This is international.
Nice to meet you. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
And oldu. Nice to meet you.
Everyone.
Oldu. Görüşürüz. Görüşürüz. Tanıyak. Görüşürüz. Yeah. Seni seviyoruz.
Okay.
So we'll go.
Thank you.
Şöyle.
Thank you.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.
Are we filming?
Görüşürüz. I think.
Görüşürüz.